Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk LinkedIn, that I jointly host with my friend Guy from the Netherlands, and where we talk about LinkedIn, of course, what we see. And as usual, we are now also attacking a central topic, or a topic that we both want to add some value to. Today, we'll be talking about visibility on the platform. But first of all, Guy, good morning.
Good morning to you, Mick, on this Friday.
Yes.
And it's fun to go international like we do, Mick. Even a
Yes.
message from Luis Carlos de Oliveira Jr. from Brazil.
Yes.
Hello, Mick and Guy. I do my best to attend. It's going to be 4 a.m. in Brazil. Thanks
Yes.
for the invitation, my friends. So,
Yes.
I informed him it's recorded, so he can sleep out a little bit longer.
Yeah. I guesstimate people in the US or that part of the world might be asleep at this early hour, and luckily they have the replay to go on. For people in New Zealand or Australia, they're obviously in a different time zone. For them, they're already going into their weekend, and I can see Roy already enjoying his glass of whiskey, I think it is, that he drinks, and Linear, who just checked in and wished us a good morning. So for them, it's already evening.
Good evening to you both.
Right, Guy. So let's start first before we go to our main topic. Anything interesting you've seen on LinkedIn in the last week?
I think it's always an interesting discussion, and you never know what to expect. Well, we're going to talk about seems like AI slop for comments.
Yep.
Very interesting thing going up there, but also the image carousel, or
Yep.
the current way they show pictures as a collage. Is that a good word?
Yeah, they show it as a carousel, basically.
Yeah. Because I received a message this morning from Manka, who is a colleague in Ljubljana, Central Europe. Today I published a post with multiple images. First 2 minutes were shown as new carousel. Now I see them like it was. One big image and then the others. I guess I'm still in the process of getting the new feature.
True.
So as we know, it always goes in waves, and features come. I think it was you suggesting, why don't we stop for a quarter?
Yes, it was me.
And then be in the same line,
Well,
all of it, 1.3 million whatever users, and then continue.
Yeah, I think at this point, I mean, we look at a bunch of features and functions that have been rolled out over the course of the last, let's say, 8 months now, this year. And the funny thing is, we all have these different versions. Some people have access to collaborative articles. Other people have these new format carousels for images. And there's we all have a different version. And my call for action to LinkedIn was really, I understand the reason behind doing the waved rollout, but it must be a nightmare for anybody in customer support. And maybe they should just, bring everybody to a more or less updated feature and function interface so that it becomes more reasonable. I mean, it's really silly that we have all these versions.
You mentioned a serious point, Mick. Let's pretend we're the customer service.
Yeah.
What's your problem, sir? What version are you on?
Well, that's actually the reason why we get a lot of what we think are silly questions, because somebody who's in customer service has to kind of determine what versions of what are you on, because each application has its different version number, and they all have dependencies on each other. So I mean, I was merely suggesting LinkedIn a big money saving scheme on customer support if they would upgrade everybody to the same user interface and features.
Yeah.
But I know.
It's
I
not
can
your
keep
trap.
dreaming. I can keep dreaming, and I fight the windmills, but that's all right. I'm not far away from Holland, so I can see windmills. I'll fight them.
And you mentioned collaborative articles mix. I think you mentioned, or it would be collaborative posts, right?
Yeah, it's collaborative posts. My apologies on the mixed up wording.
Yeah, and even with collaborative posts, I still don't get the real sense of the added value of such a feature. I mean, in the word itself, collaborative would suggest that you really collaborate.
I kind of want to point you to the article that Linear has put out this week, where she and somebody in the US whose name escapes me at the moment, but she's written a really good article about collaborative posts, and I would recommend it to anybody. Go to Linear's profile and check out the articles that she wrote.
Yeah.
Now, coming back to the feature, still everybody keeps talking about seems like AI slop. I read somewhere on LinkedIn this week that about 1 million people have pressed that button in the first 2 weeks, and now they're rolling it out on comments.
That can be interesting, Mick, because we see a lot of AI comments, I think. But there's also the other side, the flip side, the danger side. Who's going to click on the seems like AI slop? And the danger is also in the words seems like.
Yeah.
Because is it AI? Do I think it's AI? So I find it a very difficult feature to use.
The thing is they took a very soft stand with the words seems like. I mean, if it just would have said AI slop without anything, it was really a choice. Now it's kind of like, well, is it not? Seems like it. So I think they softened the hardness or the harshness of the message.
Did you press any?
Oh yeah, and I actually asked. I don't know. It was Kevin. I actually asked Kevin if I was on in the leaderboard of people pressing the AI slop yet.
So how many did you press, Mick?
I don't know. I do press them regularly. I mean, anybody who makes a post that says comment this word on that gets an AI slop from me.
I'm a bit quiet because I'm scrolling down in my feed, Mick, and I see a Dutch post, a video post with a lady with the text, "Later, when I'm dead, I'm lying peacefully in my coffin." So sorry for the interruption this morning, but that's quite a bold statement on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, it is. But I'm curious if people will be actually using it on the comments. I can see people using it on the posts. I think people will use it less on comments, but that's my gut feeling.
Why do you think that?
Well, because when you read a post, you start out reading it, the first 2-3 lines, whatever, and you decide this is AI slop, or you press the button. When you go to comments, you only see 1 or 2 comments. Very few times you open you look at all the comments, and I mean, you might not see all the ones that should be taken out, but I think it's going to be less. That's my personal feeling.
Yeah. And besides, I'm working. I'm not checking out all comments to find that one seems like AI slop.
Well, yeah, but plus the other thing is I'll see a post maybe because somebody commented on it, so I'll see the comment of that person, but I'm not going to go and see the 50 million other comments that are below there, of which maybe 10 or 15 are great post, good post, whatever type of post. I mean, those should be, could be marked as AI slop, but God knows.
Yeah.
But I've seen the use of AI comments and not the good post and stuff, but really full sentences, two sentences, 2 lines, 3 lines, and when you look at them, when you read them, especially when you read them aloud, you kind of go like, this is AI.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. The reason, what I'm also seeing, and this is kind of like where all of this is probably also coming from, is that a lot of people are getting comments from people in the third degree that come out of countries, out of this, out of the European realm, and go towards Middle East, Far East.
Mm-hmm.
I had one of my clients say, how come that the first 3 comments that I get are from some people in India, Pakistan, within the first 5 minutes that the post is alive? And when you think of it,
or make an engagement from a company page.
Yeah, or an engagement from a company page, that too. I haven't seen that one yet, that I can block a company page, by the way, which is one of the things I'm waiting for. But I don't get that many comments for company pages.
There was an article or a post talking about this, that you could block company pages, Mick. I'll have to check
it.
Yeah,
no. There is a button for it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I don't get too many comments from company pages that I would want to block anyway. So, I mean,
no, but automated, pure, and only for extra visibility.
Yeah, exactly. But that's
yeah.
Now,
and talking, Mick, about visibility, before we start talking about that, I saw a post from an Indian guy. I know him personally. He was one of the speaker at a big event. 10 or more years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about the personal pronouns that he is, in my opinion, misusing with AI LinkedIn expert. And I think it was also Michelle J. Raymond, but many people, basically who fought for inclusivity.
Yep.
The button isn't for advertisement or anything else. So I'm wondering what LinkedIn is going to do with that, because personal pronouns are personal and not business.
It's kind of funny you mentioned that, because that actually led to me making this the comment or the theme of this session today. I saw somebody doing roughly the same thing, but even worse, in the sense that they used fancy fonts for their name, and in the middle misused or abused the pronouns to get another message across, like the go-getter or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's not used, the use isn't there. But what triggered me was the fancy fonts in the name. And by fancy fonts, I mean
bold, italic.
Yeah, exactly. These Gothic bold things where you enter your text and it's automatically like visualized. It's nicer. The reason is the person showed up in my feed through suggestions, and it was a good post. It was actually a post I enjoyed. And I said, well, I'm going to look up this person. And I typed in the name in a second window, and I couldn't find the name of the person. Go back to the suggested post. And then I saw it was in fancy fonts. So I contacted the person with the question, did you do this on purpose, your name in fancy fonts? Or are you not aware that by doing a fancy font, you're actually being unfoundable or not found? You cannot be found in a search. Which led me to the theme of today, which is how do you make yourself?
Well, that's up to discussion, Mick. You cannot be found in a search, but because when we talk about optimizing your LinkedIn visibility, one of the topics that is written about a lot nowadays is optimize for AI.
Yep. Yeah.
is your headline full of keywords versus, well, we can understand that I help, in my case, in our case, international B2B to generate opportunities, something like that. So I'm wondering if these fancy fonts and will help or the contrary.
Well, you raise a good point, because AI definitely can read images. So that might not work as hard against them as I think it would. But on LinkedIn, you can be found. If you type in the name, which I did, I mean, unfortunately, the person had like a lot of people with the same name, but she never showed up in any case. I scrolled through all the screens and I couldn't find it. And the person didn't actually know that the fancy fonts on LinkedIn, whether it's in your name, your headline, or anywhere in your profile, it's not detected as text.
Yeah.
And you cannot be found. Now that LinkedIn's going the AI route, no, because I'm searching with AI. So, I mean, the person.
Mick, I cannot hear you anymore. I'm not sure what happened, but the sound just left. So, well, hopefully you will be back in a second. Otherwise, it will be a solo show. And I'm not afraid to talk to myself, but it's more fun when we...
Okay, now I'm going to switch microphones again.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can, Mick.
Right,
I can.
Okay. What I was saying is that the person was grateful for me pointing out that, she couldn't be found and wasn't aware of it. So, but at the end of the day, the person did it because the name jumped out when you saw a post that she produced.
Sure. I get it.
And I understand that. But on the other hand, if you cannot be found in a search afterwards, well, what can I say?
Yeah.
But you raised a good point with AI, though, because if AI can read images, so would she be punished on the AI side? Probably not.
So let's continue on the visibility side, Mick, because they're the obvious things: optimize your profile, your image, your headline, your about, your every single block on your profile can be optimized. But I'm looking more at the other parts, like optimize your public profile settings. So you can be found through Google and do a search on for instance, what's it called? Incognito?
Incognito, anonymous.
In an incognito window. But also your profile verification is, I think, more and more important. I'm not sure. There's still a lot of people haven't verified their profiles.
Yes, and it's becoming more and more important for one other reason, is that if and when you are blocked, that's one of the first things that LinkedIn will say you should have done, or between getting verified and having two-step identification, 2FA switched on, can be of assistance when you want to unlock a suspended profile.
Yeah, I've read somewhere that LinkedIn says that verified members see 60% more profile views and 50% more engagement on average.
I think that's wording, in my opinion. The thing is, I have not seen that increase in profile views, but the one thing that as a user then is when I see a check mark, I am more likely to click through than if I don't.
Sure, and it's also a marketing tool, Mick, to stimulate people to verify, of course.
Yeah, so that's I mean, in that sense, I think makes also sense to have verified. Plus, LinkedIn is slowly adding things like only show people that are verified, so comments from people that are verified. So they're putting in some more leverage to actually make sure that you verify your profile.
Yeah. And comments are, I think, one of the best and easiest way to get more visibility, if done correctly, of course, not by
Yep.
congrats and super and wonderful type of comments.
Yeah, I think there is another thing that crossed my mind this week in terms of your profile and visibility, which I know it's cultural thing, but I've gotten a few connection requests from people from the Middle East, especially women in the Middle East, that have a veil. And from a trust point of view, it's tougher to say yes as a Westerner than it is. I mean, it's normal in their environment. So, but it's kind of like, yeah, I think in a visibility point of view, showing your face completely might make a difference. What do you think?
I think you're right, but in 2026, in a multicultural environment, we should look through
Agreed.
those visible borders. But you, well, gut feeling. There is, well, if you talk about trust, people like to see people in the face. People do business with people they like and trust. So when you see, well, eyes are important. So you see a very, very small image of a person, or I cannot see. It does help. It does help.
I mean, I don't want to be, a racist or whatever you want to call this, but not being able to see a face of a person, whether the picture is hidden or whether it's a picture of you that is unrecognizable or is a picture with a veil, it is a bit of a drawback. I think that's just the thing.
Yeah.
And doesn't help you get extra visibility. I mean, if I see somebody show up with no profile picture or a part of a name, I mean, visibility wise, you're not going to get the 2-3 seconds that you might get if it would all be visible.
No, true, Mick. True, absolutely. What stands out in your point of view when you talk about visibility?
Another one which jumped out this week was somebody asking me, why in the name of God would you only let people in the first degree comment on your posts? Because we all know that comments from the second degree and beyond actually help you more spread your message in and on LinkedIn. But why would you switch it to comments on the people in your first degree?
Well, I'm looking at that space, Mick. When you start a post and you press start a post, you see post to anyone or to connections only or post in a group. So that's the first selection you can make. But indeed, comment control, you can indeed select anyone, connections only, or no one.
Yeah, I mean, what if you're going to write a very, emotional, triggering post where you're going to get buried under a lot of criticism or whatever, then you might want to limit the comment control.
So what's the reason for posting then, Mick?
I know, because you want to get it off your chest. You want to get the message out there, but you don't want to have all the negativism coming back to you.
Well, even then,
I know.
Be a man, be a woman, be whatever you want, but stand for your word.
I agree with you. I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of somebody who does this, as opposed to, I mean, I would never consider limiting the commenting or the visibility of my post.
It's interesting to see how the LinkedIn product team decided to add these buttons to choose from. That's to me the more interesting part. I mean, the possibility you have, that's our weekly discussion with fun and criticism and seriousness and lightness. But the reason behind it, that makes me wonder.
Well, I think the reason is pretty obvious. Is that anyone on the platform means you do it for every commenting from or getting comments from your first degree network actually makes sense because sometimes you don't want to get a comment from anybody and anywhere, and you trust your first degree.
Yeah, but then again, Mick, that would mean that you can't cope with comments from others that aren't
Agree?
mm,
Agree?
that aren't they don't agree with you or have a different opinion. I think that's the wonderful part of a platform like LinkedIn, that you meet people you never spoke to, that have a different background, that have different opinions.
Yep.
So that's what makes the world tick. That we discuss with each other, that we argue, that we come to a conclusion, and that we learn from each other.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, we're both in the same camp, luckily or unluckily for this discussion, because trying to argue the other side is for me difficult, and for you probably too, because you stand and take the hits on the chin if there are any, and you want to read as many people as you can. So. But it's one of those things. I mean, if you want to get more visibility, you got to put yourself open. And there is one big danger in this thing: is if you change that parameter for, suppose that you one day decide you want to put a post only for your first degree network, that setting remains in place till you change it.
Say that again, Mick.
So if I now write a post and I say, well, I only want people in my first degree network to see the post.
Mm-hmm.
I post it. If I don't change it afterwards, every post that I will post will actually be distributed to my first degree and not to my network.
Yeah.
So it's also a danger, because I've had people come to me and say, my reach is completely down and whatever. You go through the settings and, they have set one of their posts to my network only. And it's like, okay, well, it does this for every post from here on forward. By changing it, you obviously can go back to the old version.
Yeah. And to finish off, Mick, what tools do you use to measure your growth in visibility? I mean, some people just measure their profile views. I'm not sure if that's the right metric.
I think the answer lies in a combination of metrics. I mean, it's the growth of your network. I mean, whether it's followers or whether it's connections, whichever one you want to keep track of. I think it's the profile views. It gives you a trend. Are people looking for you? Are you looking for them? I think it's your posts that are get visibility. Is it in or out of your network mainly? I think it's a set of parameters that you need to look at as opposed to one.
Well, I think an interesting metric is not the profile. Well, when you click on analytics, you see various numbers, and one I find interesting is the search appearances.
Yep, that too. Yep,
because it shows how many times LinkedIn has how many times you appeared in the feed, or well, it's a bit different than profile views, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the profile appearances, and also linked to that is the search appearances, which are two different parameters to track.
Yeah.
The profile appearances are basically whenever you show up on LinkedIn on any screen or anybody's screen with your image, your profile picture, your name, and your headline. The search appearances are when you showed up in result lists when people searched.
Yeah.
And so those are two interesting
things. Personally, to optimize your visibility for AI, because that's a big discussion nowadays.
I won't say I have a formula, but I think what you need to try and tell in your profile is who you are, what you do, how you do it, what the results are, and possibly some proof point. I mean, if you can kind of put that I mean, it's a lot to put in a headline, that I agree. But in your about section, you can perfectly answer all those questions. It's, who's your target audience? What do you offer that audience? What is the solution that you bring? What's the proof? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, and now we're just talking about LinkedIn, but don't forget your website as well, Mick.
Oh yeah. It's all linked together, of course. It's not just a little piece left or right. I mean, apparently AI is kind of closing the door on Reddit. I was just going to become more active on Reddit, but I guess I'm going to drop that.
Okay. Well, Mick, we've come to 9:30.
Again.
We made it again.
I mean, my list is we've only covered 3 or 4 points, so that leaves lots of room for a next session.
Yeah, but I just hope that people think further than just optimizing their headline, and there are many ways to optimize your visibility. We touch on just a very few of them, but well, I hope.
I think the other thing is that people need to go and visit their privacy section, and there's an option that says visibility. Go through that and take a look at all the different things that will help your visibility even more on the platform.
Yeah. In any case, Mick, and we discussed this earlier, the settings
True.
are very important to go through once in a while. And check out, because yesterday again I went through one of the settings with one of my customers, and we found 2 or 3 buttons that weren't switched on or switched off.
Yep.
Exactly. That made really big difference.
Yeah, exactly. Once every 6 months, go through them and just make sure that you agree with the setting it's on.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Okay. Linear, Louis, I know it was very early for you. Thank you very much. Very grateful. Anybody else who joined us, thank you for joining and listening. Anybody doing the replay, well, enjoy the replay. And we will be back in 2 weeks' time in English.
Absolutely.
All right.